Welcome back, family. Lancescurv here. I had a thought that has been running across my mind the last few days, and I had a conversation earlier with a dear brother of mine, and we were speaking about how the promiscuity and, how could I say it, how sexuality has been turned into a business, more so on a deceptive level. And we have lots of young ladies out here, and I'm speaking about all young ladies, not all that all do this, but in the black community, we have some very young girls, young women, who have evidently been tampered with in their life. And there's a gnat in here trying to get some camera time. But they have unhealthy views on sexuality, and they use sexuality as a way to come up. And people will say, well, listen, that's nothing new. Prostitution has been around for a very long time. Yes, we understand that, but deliberate and outright, you want this, you pay me for that kind of thing. And you still have that going on. But we have a lot of young ladies who feel it's something fashionable, something cool to do, something that, I don't know whether it's a lack of ambition, but they've made up in their mind they're going to get around these men and titillate them, seduce them, and manipulate them into giving money so that they can do whatever they want to do in their mind. And again, it comes back to social media. It comes back to a lot of people who have been tampered with, molested, and even if it's not molestation per se, say for example, you have that young black girl that's getting her hair braided by an older aunt, and she's sitting there and they're on the front porch, and the aunt's talking to her sister, maybe the girl's mother or another cousin. Girl, you better go and get as much as you can from these men's, because they're going to use you and abuse you and leave you flat. You don't want to be like your cousin over there who got them 3 babies for them 3 different men and none of them stayed around. And so this young girl is listening to this, and the aunt is basically influencing her to be cut off emotionally. And there might not be any men around to be the good example to sit these girls down and say, hey, listen, this is how it's done. Or even a woman who can righteously say how you have to carry yourself as a young lady. And so they figure in their mind, well, listen, that's what these guys do? They're going to use me for my body and I'm going to be broke with babies? Oh, no, this is not going to happen to me. No. I'm going to get everything I can. I see how they're looking at me. They want to tell me they love me, and they want to tell me all these things and gas me up and get me in the bedroom and leave me with a baby, or just use me, try me out one time and give me a reputation. No, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do what I need to do to get what I need. But in essence, they're ruining themselves. And what's up with all of these reports? Now, we hear about Houston and Atlanta and different states, different cities where the HIV epidemic is exploding. It's always been there. I mean, like, why is it exploding now? So you have all these different factors where you have sex going on, where you exchange it for favors or money, or get up under a man and size him up and try to see what he has, to see what you can get from him. And then you have all these other men that they aim and put themselves in front of, and they try to become whatever you want in the back of your fantasy, in the back of your mind. And they can get a little here, get a little there. So it's not where they can say, no, I'm not a prostitute, because they didn't say, hey, I'll give you a blowjob and just give me $50. You know what I mean? They're not saying that, but they're trying to push you into that place where you realize they have siphoned from you and gave you a little play, and just enough to string you along until they go for the big game, when they ask you for a large amount of money after a while. And see, when you see these young girls going after these older men, which the older men may be empowered and have a little more money, and so they may not have gotten as much play when they were younger to understand just on who they are. Like, okay, he was a jock, or he was a smart guy, or he was a businessman. And on that masculine drive to succeed, he had no problem attracting a decent woman who was about doing things and maybe becoming his helpmate and wife. But these women see that, and they don't see themselves in the future settling down because their minds are so destroyed. It's already bad enough that most of the women that I know, black women, and down through the decades that I've dated or talked to, people say numbers, but I would say at least 75 or 80% of the black women that I've known, that I've talked to, were molested or violated to some degree. And it could be more than that. And so that's going to warp their mind. Then you have social media. Don't you think these 8, 9, and 10, 11, 12-year-old girls are seeing how we have the half-naked girls on Instagram, on Facebook, but more so Instagram? You don't have to, we would call it the hoe stroll, right? And they said hoe, right? I'm going to check my time. They said hoe, but guess what? We still have that. We still have streetwalkers, but they're cyber streetwalkers. They're not walking up and down the street anymore. Yeah, you have it out here in Ghana in certain areas, but we call them cyber hoes, right? They're sitting in the comfort of their own home, taking pictures, wearing the outfits, dancing and winding up. And a lot of these girls are underage. But then in the DMs, you have these older, hey girl, can I take you out? They won't stop. And so that lends credibility to the theory, or actually the fact of what they heard from their aunts, from the women around them, who encouraged them to be this way. So then now you have the AIDS going crazy, like it ducked out for a while. Like it was a big thing in the early 80s when it first came out, which actually was 79, and it came out as Kaposi sarcoma, I believe. Then they gave it AIDS, the name it a few years after that. And it was really considered a gay disease. So a lot of straight dudes were still doing their thing with women, not realizing that it wasn't just a gay disease, because you had black men and you had men that went to prison, and they were going both ways, didn't say anything. They're not going to say that they were getting head and giving head in prison and taking it up the backside. And they were willingly doing this. They always portray that in prison that you get raped, and it does happen, right? And I know that because I've worked in the prison and in the jail, right? But most of the time, these guys are giving it up for free, or for favors, or for commissary, or for protection. And so they may catch this thing in there, right? And you have women, not women, but you have men that look like women in there. And some of these guys, they're not defined in their sexuality as they portray in the street. They act hard in the street, but when they get locked up and they get horny, most of them will do what they do, but then they start looking and the mind starts playing tricks on them. Like, oh man, homeboy got a fat backside. Oh, well, I'm thinking about a woman if he's giving me head. And they get AIDS and they come out to their woman and they give it to their woman. Now that woman may break up with the guy and go mess around with another guy, and she has it and doesn't even know it, and she spread it to him. So now this is not just a gay thing now. But my thing is, the media didn't cover it for a very long time to keep it out with the intensity that people are dying out here. And then you have this drug called PrEP, which I'm not too up on it, but I heard if you take this drug called PrEP, it reduces, and maybe you can correct me on this or school me on this, it reduces the chance that you would get HIV if you have sex unprotected, either before or either after. I don't know. Is that helping people to do things more? I hear too much about this PrEP, so it's like, oh, you take PrEP, you don't have to worry about anything. So guys are out here, and the girls that I've known in the past that worked the streets, that I grew up with, and many of you know that when I used to drive a van in Queens after work, on the weekends sometime, these strippers that I knew would pay me to drive them all up and down the East Coast to different strip clubs, right? And I got a chance to get some heavy schooling on how they think and what they do. And there's a lot of recklessness going on out here, for sure. But these days, like, why are our young girls this way? Social media, molestation, emotional disconnect, those who don't even know their fathers or have no relationship with a strong male figure. Masculinity to them means men that are going to try them sexually. right? And they expect all men to be this way. So why look to be in love and settle down? Let me get what I can get. But they're not really getting anything. They're getting a little money, a little ego boost. They put the pictures up and they have these secret lives. So fellas, be careful with these young ladies who come off too perfect. Take your time. Vet the people that you're around. And yes, it's very hot out here and my towel's way over there, so I'll leave it because I'm gonna wrap this down soon because I gotta do this show in about 14 minutes with Brother Malik. I just want to get this word out and just ask questions. What do you think it is? Like why are we so sexed up? And I know that this is by design because social media given to us was by design. This wasn't by chance. It was like a real good gift. Oh, you mean I don't have to lick a stamp no more? Or I can just directly message somebody? I don't have to pay for long distance phone calls. I can send messages and pictures. I don't have to go and take my pictures and get developed. We can do all of this. And so communication boomed. But it was such a luxury. Then we combined it with the phone. Now we have communication to the world and information in Google, now Chat GPT and different things. And these apps, these sex apps. So now there's things brewing under the surface. So society looks a certain way. But at nighttime, in the comfort of your own home, when your curiosity is up, there's a lot of things going on, a lot of connections being made, a lot of things below the surface. So when you see something that looks suspicious, like that old dude with that young girl, is that his granddaughter or something? It may not be that. Diseases are spreading, children are being created, and spirits are being corrupted. Because also we have the demonic element to it. No matter what religion you call yourself or say that you follow, there's a spiritual element to all of this. And there's a lot of decadence, a lot of spirits and demonic entities and energies released across the planet. And we're killing ourselves through sex, something beautiful, something natural, something that feels damn good. But you have to be responsible. And many don't. So there's no way of gauging. But watch how things break down in the years to come. We're oversexed, sex. Nobody's thinking about building anymore or earning the right to be with a woman, putting in the work, the commitment, the dedication, the love, the time. They see something, they see a piece of meat, they're like a dog in heat. And these women are trying to capitalize on this. They think they call themselves entrepreneurs. A lot of them, I'm an entrepreneur. Yeah, you're an entrepreneur with your vagina and your lips. And the illusion you create, you figured it out, or so you think you did. But it's bringing us all down into hell. Because in adolescence, it's a struggle with the feelings that you have. But the bottom line is you have to go through that. But with filters and little things, little apps make us look like we're losing weight and lightening up our skin and getting your hair done and all this, you can create an illusion and never meet a guy and get money out of him. What, you got Cash App, you got PayPal, you got Venmo. You got all kinds of things out here. So we have a lot of cyber hookers out here who they're not doing things the right way because by the time they hit 30 years old and have a couple babies or they've been living this life and been ran through, there's a spiritual element that no matter how much you lie or move to another state, another country, there's something missing. And any decent man who's looking for a decent woman, he'll notice it, especially if he has some control and discernment. I know I was all over the place. I just want to say a few things before we get into doing this show. And I'll come here every day and do this thing, and it'll keep the regularity up. But I want to hear your opinions on that. The diseases that are out here, the behavior, recklessness, and just the demonic thing. I'm not talking about demons that look like something out of a movie. I'm talking about the charge and the energy that you have inside your heart. Anyway, I'm going to hit this off and start preparing for the show. Lancescurv out. Let me hear from you. I love doing these little short things. It reminds me of the anthill, even though there's no anthill around here. Well, there is about a block down the road. But we're going to be coming with more stuff. Much love to you all. Salute to my brothers. Mwah. Much love to my sisters. Give me some answers in the comments section, and let's continue this conversation. Peace out. Much love.